Hi, welcome to Teen Talks. Today we will be talking about encouraging others. Hi, I'm Sky. I play soccer, and the fun fact for today is crows can hold grudges against specific individual people. Today we will be talking about Joshua, and I'm here with Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I am the Bible expert.
Yes, you really are. So, starting off this story, Joshua comes into play after Moses basically disobeys God, after God tells him to just speak to a rock instead of hitting it when they're asking for water, and Moses hits it, and then he's basically like, you can't go into the promised land. So then he has to kind of dies outside of the promised land, which kind of sucks. But,
well, and actually, this isn't the first we've heard about Joshua. If you go back a little bit further, the reason that they're stuck wandering in outside of the promised land for 40 years is because Moses had sent 12 people, one from each tribe, into the land to explore it and see, what they can learn about it. And Joshua was one of those 12 spies. And then when they came back and reported back to Moses, 10 of the 12 told Moses, the people are scary. It's great land, but it's terrifying. We shouldn't go. And Joshua's like, hey, if God is with us, we should go. And so Joshua was one of the 2 spies who trusted God.
Yes.
So that's the first we've heard of him.
Right. Which is cool. So then what happens is he basically steps in and he basically leads them into the promised land, and he just takes them through. And then God gives him this little pep talk where he's like, you can do this. You got this, dude. You can be strong and courageous.
Right. It's really interesting because, the book of Deuteronomy ends with Moses' death. And then the book of Joshua starts out with Joshua being so different than Moses. Moses, he had all these excuses about why God shouldn't use him and should send someone else. Joshua is just present. And so you have God talking to him, and God tells him 3 times, be strong and courageous. I will be with you the way I was with Moses.
Right. And
it's so great.
It's cool, too, because he applies it. And so Joshua was given opportunities to be strong and courageous. The first time was when they were crossing the Jordan River.
Yeah, it's really neat because if you remember with Moses, when he was leading the people out of Israel, into Israel, out of Egypt. I know this stuff. I'm the Bible expert.
The Bible expert, yeah.
They had to cross the Red Sea, and God miraculously parted the sea and made it dry so they could cross through, and then remember they collapsed over the Egyptians who tried to follow them. Now at the Jordan River, it's flood season. It's just a river, but still it's flood season. It's crazy. And the rules are a little bit different. God says, send the priests with the ark first, and when they step into the river, then the waters will part.
More courage is necessary.
Right.
And then the second time is when this angel with a sword comes up, and then Joshua has to walk up to him and basically talk to him. That's just intimidating.
I know, it's crazy. He's seriously already courageous. I don't know if he's taking God at his word or what, but this man, this big man with a sword, and Joshua actually walks to him and says, whose side are you on? And the man's like, Joshua says, are you for us or for our enemies? And the man says, I'm the Lord's army.
Right. I'm just curious what he would have done if he said, I'm with the enemies. I'm just here to kill you all. What would he do? But then
I don't know.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, would have changed the story.
It really would have. But then the third and final time, kind of, in the beginning, was when they marched around Jericho, when they're just walking around.
Yeah. And in this, you have another contrast between Joshua and Moses, where Joshua obeyed the details that God gave him. I mean, it's kind of crazy because they're supposed to walk around the city and say nothing. Is this psychological warfare? They're creeping out the city into losing the war. And so for 6 days they just walk.
Yeah.
And then the last day they do it 7 times and they blow trumpets and they shout and then the walls fall. Right. And Joshua obeyed exactly what God said.
Right. But that's just a strange thing, a strange request that God made for him to do, and that's just defying social norms and courageous in a different, a weird social environment.
about 4 years ago, I decided to start a nonprofit. You may have heard of it, Good Samaritots. It was something I was very passionate about and something that I definitely felt that God was calling me to do. Like I had the idea literally just in a flash. It came through me, and I knew that it was something that God wanted me to do. But the problem was my background is in science, not nonprofits or kids. So I was a bit out of my element here. I had no training in starting a nonprofit and working with kids, even though it was something I loved to do, or developing curriculum, which is something I've had to do. So I was kind of flying blind. And it was a really fun period of time in my life because I definitely felt God's encouragement, not just in that moment where I knew this was something He wanted me to do, but He brought me so much help. He brought me people to help me, someone to help me with the business side of things, someone to help me with fundraising. In the beginning especially, I had so many people emailing me. I don't even know how they found out about Good Samaritots, just saying, how can I help? How can I help? And then also financially, I was not used to fundraising. And so I would, apply for little things here and there. And I remember, I think it was probably about three or 4 months since we started having meetings. So we had only had 3 or 4 meetings at that point. And I applied for a little $1,000 small business grant with a company, and I got it out of I don't know how many submissions they had, probably thousands of submissions for this, and we got it. And $1,000 at the time, $1,000 still, but $1,000 at the time was a really big deal for Good Samaritots, and that kind of kept us going for that year. So it's just one of those things where every time I feel like I'm out of my element, God will bring me help. Every single time, literally every single time. And it's encouraged me to keep going with this, even though it's hard. It takes more time. It's especially hard during a pandemic right now. But even during the pandemic, I've gotten several checks from grants that I didn't even apply to. So it's just moments like that show me that God is in this with me, and He's there to support me. He's not going to leave me to do this by myself, and I'm so grateful.
How can we help encourage others in their faith? Talk about it with your family and friends, and let us know how the conversation goes in the comments below. Thanks for watching Teen Talks. We hope to see you next week. Bye.